Okay, what I got here is an armature tester, also known as a growler, because it makes growly sounds. If there's, when it's running, and use a razor blade, turn it on, and you run the razor blade over it. This is a very small armature, so it's a little tricky. On the real big, like a generator or starter armature, it's a lot easier, but it's harder to turn. So you turn it on and you turn the armature and just keep running it around. I usually put a mark. Yeah, I got a mark. You can see it right there, a red mark on one of the segments. What I did is I cleaned it, just did a quick clean because I'm going to put it on the lathe and clean it up again, but I want to make sure that the armature itself is good before I go through all this, which I believe it is because the motor tried to turn. So you turn it on, and the growler is just basically a giant field coil, just like inside the motor. Inside the motor is what's called the field coil, which is that guy, the white object that has wires all coiled around it, many turns, and that metal area that the armature never touches, but there it is. You can see it there, shaped like kind of a Y. That creates the magnetic field for the motor, and that's what this does. It creates a magnetic field, which makes it very hard to turn because it's locked in. So what you do is with the growler on, the field coil is energized, and you run this, just a razor blade, a hacksaw blade over it. And if it rattles and sticks, that means you have a short between some of these segments. So what I do is I just turn the armature. Notice my witness mark, that red marker. So far so good. If there's a short, it'll start sticking. You have to use a steel blade, obviously. You can't use wood, because that's an insulator. So you need a ferrous object, like a hacksaw blade. Come around. There's my red mark, telltale mark, I think, right there. Yep. Is that it? Nope, that's not it. Gotta keep going a little more. So far, so good. There's my red mark right there. Alright, so this armature is good. And we also do a test. There's a continuity tester. This is really old school. I'm going to use my jumpers. You want to test to make sure you don't have a short to ground. See what I'm doing? My bench is grounded to the case. Alright, so what you want to do is you want to make sure that none of these segments are shorted to the shaft, i.e. ground, or that is normal because that is attached to the shaft. That's part of the holder for all the wires. And all these wires have to be, they're lacquered and they're insulated, so when they get wrapped around, if any one of those wires shorts to that metal, you see the insulators there, then the armature would be shorted and the growler test would fail. Alright, so now what you do is you just attach one end to ground and you touch each one of these segments, and if the light lights up, that means you have a short to ground on a segment. Sorry about the shaky camera. Wish I had 3 hands sometimes. Alright, so that verifies that the continuity test worked. Alright, let's see if I can create a failure. Let me short out a couple of segments. I'm going to use my jumpers and actually create a short on the segments. And if I go that one to that one, see if I can create, where are we? Here we are. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, I've created a segment short. I got two segments shorted together. See if I can get it to grow. Yep, there it is. and you can hear it. See, I'm good over here. The closer I get, it'll rattle because I'm too close to the field. But right about here, I can feel it rattling. Let me take it off and see if that's true. Maybe that's not a good test. Yep, it's clean there. All right, so I created a short. What happens is you can feel it in the actual blade. So if there is a dead short in the segments or the ground, I think the whole thing is gonna. Now it's the same scenario right there. Okay, let me try another one. See if I can get it to really rattle. Yeah, right there. So it's rattling there. Kind of hear it. I can feel it. You can feel it in your hand with the blade. Okay. But all in all, we've got a good armature here. I'm going to put it on the lathe, clean it up a little bit more with some 1000 grit, and then clean out the segments again and put it back together.